In her latest video, Stephanie Jenkins is basically calling CPS child snatchers because they've come to her door multiple times wanting to investigate her living situation and all these claims. They're literally doing their job. Do you think that they want to be constantly called to your motel shelter room? I'm so surprised that nothing has come of it, just because some of the things that you do in your videos, Stephanie Jenkins, are abhorrent. Some of the things that you do as far as and Drew too, because Drew is the source.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Stephanie Jenkins got online and straight up attacked Child Protective Services, CPS. She didn't hold back. In fact, she called them child snatchers and accused them of tormenting her family. But here's the thing, CPS wasn't just dropping by for fun. They were showing up because people concerned. People kept reporting how Stephanie and her partner Drew treat their kids. And instead of taking any accountability, Stephanie went live and flipped the blame on everyone else but herself. And before we even jump into her angry rant, let's make one thing clear. CPS doesn't just pop in for no reason. Their visits don't happen without cause. Something triggered those welfare checks. And most of it, it's right there, visible to anyone on Stephanie's own public TikToks and live streams. She documents her life online, then acts shocked when people raise alarm. So today, let's dig deep into the chaos, the contradictions, and the consequences that Stephanie Jenkins refuses to face. In one of her recent rants, Stephanie talked about her toddler possibly being on the autism spectrum. Now, most people would treat that kind of topic with care. Maybe talk about getting a diagnosis, maybe ask for advice from others, or even raise awareness to help other parents. But not Stephanie. Instead of showing understanding or trying to learn more about how to support her toddler, she used the moment as an excuse to lash out aggressively at anyone who's ever questioned her. She didn't call them people, she called them idiots. Straight up. She said she didn't care one bit about what the idiots online had to say. What she really seemed upset about was not the opinions themselves, but the fact that those people kept calling CPS on her. That's when the rant turned into a full-blown meltdown. She blamed those same viewers, concerned strangers, and followers for calling what she dramatically referred to as the child snatchers. Yes, that was what she called CPS, the agency literally tasked with protecting vulnerable children.
In her latest video, Stephanie Jenkins is basically calling CPS child snatchers because they've come to her door multiple times wanting to investigate her living situation and all these claims. They're literally doing their job. Do you think that they want to be constantly called to your motel shelter room? I'm so surprised that nothing has come of it, just because some of the things that you do in your videos, Stephanie Jenkins, are abhorrent. Some of the things that you do as far as and Drew too, because Drew is the source.
According to Stephanie, her life is being ruined by these so-called haters who are constantly sending CPS to their doorstep. She painted this picture of CPS as villains who won't stop harassing her family, who keep coming back just to mess with them. She called the visits torment and said CPS won't leave us alone. But here's the thing, CPS isn't just showing up because they feel like. They don't make house calls for entertainment. They investigate when there is reason to believe a child might be in harm's way. And guess what? Most of those red flags, they come from Stephanie's own videos she uploaded, lives she went live on, posts she proudly shared. Stephanie refuses to acknowledge, or maybe just can't comprehend, is that CPS isn't showing up to bully her. They are not stalking her. They are not being mean. They're literally doing their job. Their job is to check on children when there is a reason to worry. It's that simple. And from what people have seen online, from the dangerous setups, the lack of supervision, the motel chaos, there's clearly a reason to worry. So while Stephanie tries to turn herself into a victim, calling everyone else the problem, the truth is more obvious than she wants to admit. CPS doesn't knock on your door multiple times unless there's a reason. And that reason, it's Stephanie's parenting or lack of it. Let's be real here. CPS doesn't waste their already stretched resources unless they have real concern. These workers are already dealing with overwhelming caseloads, often working late hours, underfunded and emotionally drained from what they see daily. They are not knocking on random doors or hoping to find trouble. They act on reports that have enough cause to make them believe a child might be unsafe. They're showing up to homes where something seems truly wrong, where the environment looks chaotic, unstable, or dangerous. And with Stephanie, the warnings don't even come from hidden cameras or anonymous accusations. They come directly from her own mouth, from the content she willingly shares on social media. Videos where the kids are unsupervised, lives where she's yelling while her children run wild in the background, clips that show cluttered spaces, chaos, and neglect. She claims these reports are coming from trolls, that it's just online haters trying to ruin her life, that they are bitter people with nothing better to do.
I'm so surprised that nothing has come of it, just because some of the things that you do in your videos, Stephanie Jenkins, are abhorrent. Some of the things that you do as far as like, and Drew too, because Drew's like the source. Like when he had all those blankets in the bassinet and the baby had him over their face, red flag. When he was driving to the car wash and said baby, first of all, the 2-year-old was facing forward. The, I don't know how old she is, but the middle child was in the passenger seat without a booster. Not saying that she needed to be in a booster in the passenger seat, just saying that she needs to be in a booster in the back, at the very least. For my daughter who's 6 years old, I do the whole, this. Because she's little, she's itty bitty, she's 6 years old, her body's still not developed. But yes, they're not child snatchers, Stephanie Jenkins, they're doing their job. Something that you don't know what it is. So let me define it. A job is where a person will clock in hours and they get paid for the amount of time and their effort that they put into the day. Sometimes it's a profession, sometimes it's a career. They're contributing to society and not just breeding.
But let's really think about that. If everything in her home was calm, clean, and safe, would CPS come back again and again? Would viewers even feel the need to make reports in the first place? No, then they wouldn't. People don't call CPS for fun, and CPS definitely doesn't investigate just for kinks. They follow up because red flags keep showing up. Not just once, not twice, but repeatedly. And every time they circle back, it's not because they enjoy annoying Stephanie. It's because the concerns never fully go away. Instead of asking CPS why it keeps coming, Stephanie should be asking what she can change so they stop needing to. Because as long as she continues sharing concerning moments and doing the bare minimum as a parent, they'll keep showing up. That's not harassment, that's protection, that's their job. Let's talk about that now infamous car wash video. Drew posted it proudly, likely thinking it showed a sweet and casual family moment. But anyone with even a basic understanding of child safety could immediately see the problem. What looked like a simple car ride was actually filled with glaring safety violations because they no longer had their van. The entire family squeezed into a small 5-seater Jetta, 2 adults, 4 children, and not enough proper seat. The first issue, one of their children, a girl who had just turned 8, ended up in the front passenger seat, and that's a big no. Safety experts strongly recommend that children under 12 ride in the back seat, and for good reason. The front seat, especially with active airbags, can be extremely dangerous for young. In the video, it was obvious the seatbelt wasn't fitting her properly. It sat high across her neck and didn't provide the secure hold it's meant to. In the event of a crash, this kind of poor fit could cause serious injuries to her neck or internal organs. This isn't just a technicality, it's a known hazard. Then, look at the back seat and things don't get any better. Only the toddler had a booster seat. The rest of the kids sitting unsecured without proper restraint. That's not just an oversight. It's a complete disregard for basic child safety. Every child, depending on their age, height, and weight, needs the right kind of car seat or booster to stay protected during a drive. None of that was even in place.
Brazilian Jenkins have a brand new 2024 car. Mind you, they have 5 children. And apparently they have a Jetta. Drew's been posting all about his car on his TikTok that he made recently. And people are like, oh, so y'all have a brand new 2024 car, but it's clearly not big enough for all of your family. And they used to have a van that was like paid off, but they sold it because they needed money. Why the fuck would you sell something that you quite literally need because you have 5 kids? Now we know exactly where all the money is going. These people clearly have all of their priorities fucked up. And let's keep in mind that there are actually people out there that are supporting and defending these people. And y'all are so quick to be like, oh, you're mom shaming, you're mom shaming. Some people should literally be ashamed.
And here's the kicker. Joe filmed all of this and uploaded it like it was no big deal. No second thoughts, no awareness that he had just shown thousands of viewers how little they prioritize their children's safety on the road. Not only did he not delete the video when people pointed out the risks, but he didn't even acknowledge the concerns. That silence, it says a lot. It shows that this isn't just a one-time mistake. It's a pattern, a mindset, a consistent failure to recognize when something is dangerous. And when those kinds of choices are happening with 4 young children involved, you better believe CPS and concerned viewers are going to take notice, because in that moment, Drew wasn't just a dad driving to a car wash. He was walking, talking, warning signs. Same video, different danger. Stephanie and Drew claim to be doing family bonding time, but their 5-month-old baby was packed so close to the TV screen. It looked like she was practically using it as a pillow. They were playing Miss Rachel, which is fine in moderation, but not when your baby is nearly touching the screen. That kind of overstimulation can mess with a baby's eyes, their focus, their overall development. Doctors warn against babies spending too much time in front of screens, especially that close. And what was Stephanie doing while her baby was inches from a flash's screen? Scrolling on her phone, not watching, not bonding, not even interacting. She let the screen do the parent. While the baby was glued to the TV, their toddler Booba was on the bed trying to reach to his sister. There were no guardrails to stop him from falling, no adult near him, no one paying attention. Just a little boy climbing around on an open bed, reaching his tiny arms toward a baby laying down dangerous, close to the flash. And as innocent as that moment might have looked to them, it was one step away from turning into something tragic. He could have lost his balance. He could have slipped. Just one wrong move and he could have hit the floor head first. Toddlers aren't still. They don't have the reflexes or strength to catch themselves in a fall. A fall from that height, even a bed, can lead to concussions, broken bones, or worse, especially on motel floors, which are rarely padded or soft. And where were Stephanie and Drew? Well, Stephanie was scrolling through her phone, barely glancing up. No one was monitoring Booba's movements, even though he's known to be extremely active. This wasn't a freak accident narrowly avoided. This was the kind of situation that should never have been allowed in the first place. Let's be honest, this isn't about parenting styles. It's not about people doing things differently. It's about basic child safety. A toddler on an open bed with a baby nearby. No guardrails, no supervision, and distracted parent. That's not parenting method. That's neglect. And the fact that this was recorded and shared with pride only adds to the concern. Stephanie has said Booba is autistic, and if that's true, and many of her followers are taking her at her word, then he deserves so much more than what he's been getting. He deserves structure, he deserves stability, he deserves consistent routines, specialized attention, and patient-focused parenting. But based on what we've seen from Stephanie and Drew, he's not getting any of that. Instead of a calm and supportive environment, Booba is being raised in what looks like a complete chaos.
Hey, yo, Bubba said, fuck it. I'm about to bury myself in this dirt. Mama won't take us to the park. Like, is the park too far away? I'm so confused. Like, girl, you could at least take them kids to the park. Then you want people to know that he took 2 baths. Girl, the shelter's free. So the water's free too. Girl, y'all should be bathing abundantly, okay? Morning, noon, and night, okay? Y'all should be in them people water, okay? I tell you that.
This isn't about being poor. This isn't about not having enough money. This is about prioritizing and attention. Because no matter your income level, supervision and love doesn't cost anything. And right now, Booba looks like a little boy who is surviving, not thriving. He has been spotted outside alone at night. No shoes, no jacket, no parent anywhere inside. Just wandering through the parking lot of a motel in the dark, as if it were normal. For any child, that's scary. But for a child with autism, that's a nightmare. Kids on the spectrum may struggle with boundaries, have difficulty sensing danger, or wander off without realizing the risks. And yet, here Booba was, vulnerable, unsupervised, and completely alone. What if a stranger had approached him? What if a car had backed out suddenly? What if he had wandered further off? There aren't paranoid questions. These are very real possibilities.
The resilient Jenkins baby caught outside all alone. Baby Atlas was caught outside alone in a parking lot by Google Maps. A Google Maps car driving around taking pictures. Now the door was open and I don't know if they were watching from inside. But either way, this was a parking lot. Cars driving around, he could get hit, predators, like people snatch kids. Like how many stories do we hear? He could have just wandered off. He's a toddler. Like he's little. So many horrible things could have happened. And right before this incident, Stephanie had spoken out about wanting to open up about her journey of him being on the spectrum. Like this is a toddler on the spectrum outside in a parking lot wandering around. And it was the Google Maps car driving around snapping pictures, not some weirdo creeping. What were they doing that they did not realize he was out there? Or do they allow this? This little boy is 2 years old, and from what I've seen, he has barely any toys, no routine, no structure, and he's living in chaos. This one bothered me. As a mother, I could not imagine. I'm not going to post the picture because he's a child and it's in front of their hotel room. And I normally just get on here and gossip, but this situation is completely different. I'm actually worried for this baby at this point.
And it's not just once. Booba is regularly seen barefoot in the motel yard. This isn't a backyard. This is not fenced in. It's not a safe, grassy area. This is a shared, exposed, and unpredictable space that anyone can access. There are strangers passing through, people who may be under the influence, and hazards that go unnoticed until it's too late. And yet, time and time again, we see Booba outside unsupervised with no shoes, like it's just another day. Stephanie isn't just being careless. She's putting her son, a child who needs more protection than most, at constant risk. And then she wonders why CPS keeps showing up. This is why. Stephanie and Drew live in a motel with a 28-day limit. That means every month, without fail, they have to pack up everything they own: clothes, baby supplies, food, toys, and leave to avoid triggering the squatters' rights law. After a few days away, they often come right back and check in again. But in between those stays, the family is uprooted again and again, month after month. So what does that mean for the kids? It means they're constantly in limbo. There's no stable routine, no consistent place to call home. One week they're in a motel, the next week maybe a friend's house, maybe a shelter, maybe check in the motel, maybe back in the motel. It's like living out of a suitcase that never gets unpacked. And for children, especially toddlers and babies, this kind of unstable environment is deeply unsafe. Young kids depend on structure. They feel safest when they know where they sleep, where their toys are, what time they eat, and when bedtime happens. But in Stephanie and Drew's world, even the basics are always shifting. One day they might have a microwave, the next they don't. One day there is space to play, the next they are cramped into a single motel bed. It's not just inconvenient, it's disorientating. And inside the room, it's often chaos. Dirty laundry piles up, from bags to baskets. Trash piles up. Plates with old food sit untouched. There's no system. There's no cleanness. No real effort to make the space livable. One time, there was even an ant infestation caused by Booba hoarding snacks behind his bed. Food that went unnoticed for so long that it attracted bugs. If Stephanie and Drew were really paying attention, they would have caught it. They would have seen the signs of pests and clutter, that disorganization. But the fact that it's escalated to an infestation tells you all you need to know. These kids are not being actively monitored, not the way they should be. And if the inside of their room looks like this in the videos they choose to share, just imagine what's happening when the cameras isn't rolling. There is a clear pattern in all of this, and it's not just a messy rooms and unsafe rights. It's something deeper, something that plays out in almost every video. The total lack of attention. Stephanie is nearly always glued to her phone. She records their live non-stops, scrolling endlessly, gets into online arguments, and posts rants about people hating on her. But what does she rarely, if ever, do? Actually pay attention to her kids. She misses the small moments, the chances to bond, the red flags. She's so focused on filming or clapping back at the internet that she forgets to look up. And when you look at her videos with that lens, it becomes painfully obvious these kids are living in a house where a screen, not a parent, is in charge. The TV has become a babysitter. It's not in the background constantly. Shows like Miss Rachel are playing out as educational tools but as parenting replacements. Stephanie and Drew use the screen to keep their children quiet, still, and distracted while they stay distracted themselves. The phone holds all the Stephanie's attention. The kids, they're like background noise in her own home. They are there, but there is nothing to be seen. And this isn't just a one-time thing or a moment of exhaustion. This is a full-blown pattern, a parenting issue that's showing no signs of changing. But at the end of the day, parenting isn't just about being physically present. It's about emotional availability, supervision, engagement, and that's what's so painfully missing in this household. It's not a lack of love, it's a lack of effort, presence, and awareness. Here's where it gets even more twisted. Stephanie says CPS is tormenting, that they're child snatchers, just waiting to take her kids, but the truth, they have never taken her. They have just done checkup. CPS doesn't just rip kids from homes. That's at last resort. What they do first is offer help, support, warnings. They give parents a to change. But if these warnings are ignored, That's when things escalate. Stephanie isn't being targeted. She's being given time to set up, time to get it right. But she would rather attack CPS than ask herself what she can do better. Let's remind ourselves what CPS really is. It's a system designed to protect children from abuse and neglect. When someone calls in a concern, especially with a video proof, they have to investigate. That's the law. If they find problems, they try to fix them, they offer resources, they check in, and only when nothing else works, they do consider removing kids from a home. Their goal is always to keep families together safely. So when Stephanie calls them child snatchers, she's not just wrong, she's spreading fear. Fear that distracts from what actually needs attention, the well-being of her children. While Stephanie is accusing CPS of stealing kids, she and Drew are doing something deeply hypocritical, something that goes against the very narrative she's trying to push. They're actively kept Deshaun, a child who is not biologically hers, away from his own mother. They have denied that mother visitation. They have ignored her calls. They have refused communication. This isn't some accidental situation. It's deliberate. The biological mother has tried to reach out to be part of her child's life, and instead of welcoming that connection, or at least co-parenting, Stephanie and Drew have shut her out completely. They have blocked access emotionally and physically. So the question has to be asked, who's really separating families here? It's CPS, who's doing welfare checkups to ensure children are safe, or is it Stephanie, who is holding a child away from his rightful parent while pretending to be the one under attack? It's twisted irony. The same woman yelling online about people trying to take her children is actively keeping someone else's child away from their mom. It's not just hypocritical, it's cruel, and it shows exactly why Stephanie's version of the story shouldn't be taken at face value. Stephanie Jenkins isn't being haunted. She's not being targeted by some big conspiracy. She's not the victim of a witch hunt. She's being watched closely and consistently because people are genuinely concerned about the safety and well-being of her children. That's the truth, and it's not coming from hate. It's coming from... Let's be honest with ourselves here. If everything inside Stephanie's household was stable, safe, and supportive, if the children were being raised in a clean, consistent environment with basic supervision and love, CPS would have stopped showing up a long time. But they haven't. In fact, they keep returning. That right there should tell us everything we need to. It's not just noise, it's not just drama. It's an ongoing concern that won't disappear just because Stephanie wants it to. She can rant on social media all day. She can go live and scream about trolls, record apology videos, or block every commenter who questions her. But it doesn't change the core issue. Her children are not thriving, they're surviving. And people are watching, not to attack, not to shame, but to protect those kids who can't speak up for themselves. Eventually, if nothing changes, CPS won't just keep knocking to ask questions. They'll take action. They'll intervene, not because they want to tear families apart, but because their job is to protect children when parents won't step up. And when the day comes, it won't be a failure of the system. It will be the result of Stephanie's own refusal to grow, to change, or do better. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to stay informed, because this story is far from over. In fact, it may just be reaching its breaking point.